Sarif. The Sarif is like this. Let's make an example of it. Sarif, make it easier. The principle. Even though I know we said that we got it, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of us don't really have it. When you get locked up, what's the first thing they say to you? Or should say to you? What's said to you when you get arrested? You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to talk. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. No, you don't have to say that. Everybody understand this? You don't what? Listen carefully, guys. Someone is lying on the floor bleeding. There's a sharp object on the ground. You're standing above him. The cops say, freeze. Hopefully they say that to you. Only Allah knows best in 2017 in New York City. Hopefully they say freeze. Put up your hands, right? And gently place you upon a car and put on the handcuffs in a gentle manner, not too hard on your wrist. Inshallah ta'ala, Tayyib? Anyone who's ever been locked up knows the reality it is, how tight the cuffs are placed on you. Waliyadu billah. Al-Muhim, the cop, he tells you to do what? Put your hands up, you're under arrest. You don't have to say what? It wasn't me. Or he forced me, I was angry, or it slipped, it was an accident. You don't have to say what? Any of that. It is your right to do what? You don't have to say nothing. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to say anything. Because, no, we said it already. Ya Allah. Does nobody know what I'm talking about? No, something before that. Before that. What you say can and will be what? Used against you in a court of law. If you say, yeah, I did it. He got on my nerves. He took my money. They're going to take that as a what? Everybody understand this? And you're innocent until what? Proven guilty. Even though it's blood on the floor, the person is lying with his body bleeding, the sharp projectiles on the ground, you're still what? You're still what? You are innocent. You're not a murderer. You did not commit any crime until what? Proven guilty. Everybody understand this? So the asal, the rule of thumb is that you're what? You're innocent. No matter what the scene looks like, you're what? You're innocent. That's the asal. So in that place, this will be the fi'l amr, the commanding verb. Faqulu. That's a command in the Arabic language. Naam? So the asal of repeating after the mu'adhin is what? Guys, if we're saying it this slow, that means we didn't what? Lutfi, we didn't get what? We did not get the lesson if it takes us this long to say it in response. Once more, the hadith says, when you hear the mu'adhin, then do what? Say. That is a what? English or Arabic, that's called what? A command. Everybody clear on this? So once more, that's what the hadith says. The fiqh, the Islamic jurisprudence. What is the ruling on repeating after the mu'adhin? If I asked you, akhi, with the scarf on. What is the ruling on repeating after the mu'adhin? Based off of what we just said, it's what? No, the innocent, that's just an example. I don't want to hear any commands. I want to know the ruling. What is the ruling? Yeah, Allah. Yeah, Allah. Tayyib. Based off of that, the ruling is what of the raqib? Wajib, fard. You must repeat after the mu'adhin. Period. That's the what? That's the asal, the rule of thumb. That's the original ruling. It stays that way, it remains that way until kada, 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 kada. You're innocent until what? Proven. That's the opposite, that you're guilty. You did it. And now we're going to prove that you did it in the court. That's the incorrect way of conducting law, as is often done. As is what? In the world, in America. It's often done like that. Everybody understand this? But the judge is supposed to have a what? The jury is supposed to have a what? The prosecutor, total different story. He's supposed to have a what? No doubt. He's supposed to have an empty cup. This person is innocent. Race, color, age, where he comes from. He didn't kill the person until they do what? Prove it with evidence that he was the one who stabbed that person to death. Everybody understand this? So the fact that the fingerprints on the handle of the knife, or you yourself confess that you committed the crime, that is called the what in Arabic? That's the sarif. That's the thing that what? Sarafahu anil asl. It took you away from the original ruling that you were innocent. You're no longer innocent. But before you made that statement or the fingerprints were found, you were what? Innocent. So saying what the mu'adhin says is mandatory based off of that hadith until something else comes. And that other thing, that hadith, that is called in usul al-fiqh, that's called the what? As-sarif. Sarf. Sarafa yasrifu sarfan, which means to take something away. Everybody understand this? The rule of thumb is that the person, the suspect, that's why they say in the news, he was suspected of murder. And they don't say he killed. They cannot say that. Even if they feel that way, he has to be what? Proven. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this or not? You got it?
No.
Alhamdulillah. Guys, try to think about this because this is very beneficial and because this rule is going to come in 1,000 other hadiths and issues pertaining to all rulings of Islam. What do the ulama say with regards to saying this and doing this? Is it mandatory? Is it recommended? Everybody clear on this? Wallahu alam. Any other questions before we stop?
Can we stop topic?
Fadl.
So, what would you say to a person that says that they feel that the sins that they committed are wrong, and they feel that the things that they do are, they admit to their sins, but they say that they just can't repent to Allah. They just can't. They just can't face the reality. They just can't. They don't want to feel bad.
Someone who makes sins and they say they can't repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They feel bad, they're going to be hypocritical, they're going to make the sin again, so on and so forth. What's important is tawbah is accepted by the slave before death. If you made sins for 1,000 or 70 years, 80 years, 100 years, and you made tawbah on the last day of your life, and you were sincere, and you made a proper tawbah, then bi'idhnillah, with Allah's permission, your tawbah is accepted, inshallah. So that's not a problem. The problem lies where? No. The problem lies where? ما هي نقطة الإشكال? No. The problem lies in you don't know if you're going to live for 100 years. You don't know when what? Death is going to come to you. You don't know that. There's no guarantee that you'll live old and make tawbah at the end of your life. There's no guarantee that you'll get over it and I'm done, I'm finished, I'm 100% clean, now I'm going to make tawbah. You don't know that. You don't what? You don't know that. Everybody, you don't what? You don't know that. Nor do you know that you will be given the tawfiq to make the tawbah. A seal may be placed on your heart. You may be forsaken. You may be blinded and you'll never ever do it. So therefore, it's only logical to make the tawbah even if you fall into it again. It's only logical. Because you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what's going on. So it's better for me to take a chance with Allah's mercy than me taking a chance of not making any repentance at all. Makes sense? Let alone the fact that you can't compare Allah to a human being. And that's the relationship that you have with a human being. I can't apologize because I'm going to do it again. I can't apologize because I'm going to look stupid. I apologized yesterday. They're going to say, get out of here. That's the human being. Allah's mercy is what? Ever expansive. There's no comparison between our forgiveness and our mercy and that of what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I say, no, I don't want to accept I don't want to hear your apology. Just do the right thing. You said it to me too many times. You tell your wife, I'm sorry, I love you. She says, what? It means nothing. It's just words. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most forgiving, most merciful. His mercy is ever expansive. وَسِعْتَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. Allah said in the Quran, in several places, His mercy is what? Ever expansive. وَوَسِعَتْ رَحْمَتِي كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. Allah says, my mercy is what? And then all things. The Prophet ﷺ, he says that when Allah had the book, فوق العرش, the book of the creation, he says, إِنَّ رَحْمَتِي سَبَقَتْ غَضَبِي. My mercy is greater than my wrath. So it's just that simple. I have a better chance of making tawbah, trying, falling back into the sin, instead of just totally turning away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's only going to get further and further. So you got to think about it like that. Wallahu alam.
You said that Wasilla means a station in paradise, according to the text. So what is Wasilla when you're asking some questions?
Question says, with regards to al-wasila, and you're asking for the Prophet ﷺ, based off what we read according to the text, and there lies no doubt, as the Arabs say, صاحب الدار أدرى بما فيها. The owner of the house knows what? More than the house than anyone else. So the best interpretation to give to that word in the Islamic sense is the actual what? Hadith. And the Prophet clearly says, فَإِنَّهَا مَنْزِلَةٌ فِي الْجَنَّةِ لَا تَنْبَغِي إِلَّا لِعَبْدٍ مِنْ عِبَادِ اللَّهِ. He says that it is a manzil, a station in paradise, asking Allah to give Muhammad more. So that's best way of understanding that word in this sense than the actual what? Hadith. In the English translation, it said that it was intercession. Is there a hadith that states that the Prophet will make intercession and it's called wasila? Everybody understand this or not? Clear on this or not? The word wasila linguistically means a bridge, an extension, a way of getting to something, a means. Huh? Everybody understand this? A sabab. Now, that's the asal of the word. Clear on this? Wallahu alam.
Question from online is Assalamu alaikum Mufti, I'm Tahir Robina from Hong Kong. I tried many ways to try to seek knowledge, but it seems like all doors are closed to me somehow. Does that mean this is from Allah? And I sincerely wanted to seek knowledge for the sake of Allah, to strengthen my iman and fear of Allah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. A disciple from Hong Kong asked about seeking knowledge. I've tried everything. It doesn't seem to work, so on and so forth. Does that mean that it's from Allah? I wanted to seek knowledge to better myself, etc. First and foremost is everything that exists in this dunya is decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The good and that which we see as bad is all from Allah azza wa jalla. First and foremost, you go overseas, that's from Allah. You don't go overseas, it's also what? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's first and foremost. Secondly is, no matter what happened, no matter what is happening, no one and nothing should stop you from seeking knowledge if you truly want it. You may not be able to go to a place, an institution, a certain scholar, this one, that one, but the concept of seeking knowledge is something that no one can take from you, period. They can break your legs, they can take off your arms, your toes, your feet, they can never take away your heart, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And that's where you begin to seek knowledge at. And as we have explained in many classes, seeking knowledge is not a location, it is not a dress code, it is not a color or a pigmentation, it is not a scholar or a camp or a doctor. Seeking knowledge is not about being Arab, about being a man. It's not just for one sex. This is what most people have in their minds, whether they say it with their tongues or not. The average person has this stereotype with regards to seeking knowledge. It's only for men. It's only for Arabs. It's only for young people to seek knowledge. Huh? Right or wrong? It's only for people who this and who kava and kava and kava. The average person has this stereotype, whether they realize it or not. No one is going to say that with their tongues, except for the people that are just, the hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. But the average person behaves like this. A sister has the ability to read and study the Quran, but she doesn't study, she doesn't continue because she has in her mind that seeking knowledge is only for what? Men. Is this not the case? A younger brother, he's from India. He has the ability to read, to study, to benefit and learn, but he only studies just a little bit. He doesn't push it that far because seeking knowledge is only for people that are Arabs. And I'm not Arab. An older brother loves books. He loves to read. He loves to study. I was incarcerated. I was locked up, so on and so forth. But he doesn't continue his quest of knowledge because seeking knowledge is only for young people. Is this not the case? Everybody understand this? Unfortunately, and this is false. Everybody clear on this? So if you can't go overseas, if you're not young, if you're a girl or a lady, if you have children, if you're not Arab, if you don't have a nice form, you're quote unquote ugly, whatever the case may be, knowledge begins and starts with the heart and the mind. And we've explained this before. Now, Osama, seeking knowledge is a philosophy. It's a mindset. It's not about how many pens you have in your pocket. It's not about how short your thobe is. It's not about how fair or how dark your skin is. Seeking ilm is your mind. I am a student of knowledge. Even in America, yes. I'm a student of knowledge and I'm 60 years old. I'm a student of knowledge and I'm in jail. I'm in solitary confinement and I'm a what? Student of knowledge. I like to read, I like to memorize, I like to benefit, I like to write things down. I'm a student of knowledge. That's it. I met Sheikh Fulan or I didn't meet Sheikh Fulan. I studied with Sheikh Fulan or I didn't study with him. Everybody understand this? There are people where as we speak, and the truth is to be said, no matter who likes it or dislikes it, there may be somebody who sits with a scholar day and night, and he's not a student of knowledge. And Allah Azza wa Jal is witness to this. We have seen it. Walk with the sheikh, drive the sheikh around, drink, do everything with the sheikh, and he is not a student of knowledge. And there's a brother who never ever went overseas, left his home, never left America, and he's a student of knowledge. Everybody understand this? If you have the ability to have this mindset, this philosophy, this passion, and go overseas, then of course that's even better. And you're young, that's even what? It's even better. But it doesn't stop you. So there's no one that can stop you from seeking knowledge. If you can't leave Hong Kong, seek knowledge in Hong Kong. Like you're watching this class online, listen to the classes. You know Arabic, you need the translation, there's no excuse if you truly want it. Everybody understand this? And we repeat these words. Seeking knowledge does not have a what? Form. It doesn't have a race. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have an age. Ilm is free for anyone who's willing to sacrifice to get it, wherever you are. And as we've said, when people have asked us, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, many brothers say, how did you start seeking knowledge? Where did you come from? So on and so forth. I can say pride, out of pride, alhamdulillah, Allah's blessing, is that I was seeking knowledge before I went to Medina. I used to seek knowledge when I was in high school. I wasn't in Medina. I wasn't in Medina University, and I consider myself a student of knowledge because I had my tape recorder, I had my book, I had my pen, I had my pencil, and I would study and I would learn and I would benefit before I left America. Everybody understand this? Pay attention to this. This is important. You can be a student of knowledge where? In Hong Kong. Wallahu alam.
Question initial NZU from Birmingham, UK. My stepfather is an auditor in a riba bank. He works in IT audit. He gives my mother money to buy food, etc. Can I eat this food that my mother buys? I don't have a job at the moment.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Question coming from the UK, Birmingham. Father works in a bank. He has a specific job in the bank. He provides for my mother. Can I eat the food? I don't have a job at the moment. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The summarized answer for the little bit of time that we have is that it's permissible to eat that food for several reasons. For several reasons. One, you said that you don't have a job. Two, it's not a guarantee or a promise that everything that the father makes is haram. Working in a bank, every transaction in a bank is not haram. Everybody understand this? Every transaction in a riba-based bank does not mean that it's what? Haram. The wealth is mixed. Is it best to avoid? Of course. Doubtful this and that? No doubt. But it doesn't mean that every single thing is haram. And it's a mistake that many people make. Everything that happens in a bank is not what? Haram. Just like every man-made system of law does not mean that it's against the Sharia. Everybody understand this? Everything in the Constitution doesn't mean that it's wrong Islamically. But the system as a whole is the ruling of Taghut. As a whole. But it doesn't mean that every single what? Detailed specific ruling is mukhalif of Sharia. La abadan. There are things in a bank which are Islamically supported. Buying, selling, lending, loaning, and the list goes on. Investment. Wallahu alam. This is in brief.
Abdul Karim from England. My question is to do with food which has alcoholic food carriers but is not intoxicating. For example, vanilla ice cream.
Next question has to put the city.
Initials MB from Toronto. Hayakullah Sheikh. Is it permissible for a sister to talk to many suitors at once for the purpose of narrowing them down to save herself time and energy?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah yuhayyikum. Inshallah, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as the proper intention is there, and as long as it's done in a proper manner. With your wali, on the phone, however, whatever the manner is, if one man proposes to you, it does not mean that you're now stuck and solidified with this one brother. It does not mean that at all. If you've agreed to marry him, that's a different story. But if it's just up in the air, then it's still what? Up in the air. Wallahu alam. It's just that simple. Abu Saeed.
I was in a masjid and they called the Imam and the brother was about to lead the salah. Some of us straighten the rules and foot to foot, this, and then he said, may Allah accept our one salah. Is this something that we can find a Prophet and the companions used to do after straightening up the rules?
Question comes from Brooklyn, New York City, with regards to being in a masjid and the imam says straighten the rules and then afterwards says may Allah accept our salah. Can we find the Prophet and the Sahaba doing or saying this? I don't know of any narration that states that. My knowledge is limited, but I haven't read any narration that says that the Prophet or the Sahaba used to do that. It's not necessarily haram to say it unless you say it every single time, and in which it becomes part of the salah. And even then, we can't necessarily say that it's haram. But it's definitely borderline mukhalafa, borderline bid'ah. We said borderline, intabihu. We said what? Borderline, lam najzam. Tayyib. But it's something that, if you said, may Allah accept your prayer, may Allah have mercy upon you, the Imam says to those who's training rows, can't say it's haram and can't say it's a bid'ah. Unless it's done in a specific way each and every time with a specific intention, and it takes the place of the sunnah acts of straightening the rows and so on and so forth. Wallahu alam.
Amin from Queens. Does a divorced woman who commits zina receive the same punishment as a married woman?
Queens, New York.
I don't know if that's happening.
Allahu alam. I don't know. City and state, please. Next question.
If there is a Muslim man who committed zina and then he has a child, and he says that the child is not mine, because it doesn't take care of that child.
Somebody has a child from zina, and then they say the child is from zina, the child is not mine. I would say, fihi haqq wa batil. It's truth and falsehood. Truth and falsehood. It not being your child from the Sharia ruling, al-waladu lil-firash wa lil-ahir al-hajar. The Prophet ﷺ says the child belongs to the bed and the fornicator gets stones. Many people, they misunderstand this hadith, totally misunderstand it, and they literally invert the hadith. They flip it topsy-turvy. The Prophet ﷺ says al-waladu lil-firash. A child of the bed is what type of child? Lutfi. What is the child of the bed? Illegitimate. That's exactly wrong. That's what people say today. It's a child of the bed. Al-waladu lil-firash. Yani li sahib al-firash. Az-zawj. Alladhi yamliku al-bayt. Is the one who owns the house. The child belongs to the bed of the owner of the bed. You sleep with someone, you could have your own house, but initially, hypothetically, in the Prophet's time, it's not your what? Bed. It's not the marital bed. Everybody understand this? So the child of the bed is the legitimate child. Walil ahir, azani, the fornicator gets hajar. He gets stones. whether that means to be stoned, or whether it means al-khayba, wal-nadama, wal-khasara, loss and regret. In other words, the child can grow up to be a great scholar, a great warrior, a great believer, and you do not claim that child. That child is not attributed to you. He does not take your name. You don't inherit from him, so on and so forth. You lost, like, dang, look at him. Look what type of man he turned into, and he's not my child, legislatively. Everybody understand it? So that's the haqq of that statement. As far as the batin, then it's clear within the American culture, the culture of zina. Zina is the normal act. If you don't make zina, something's wrong with you. You're gay, you don't like women, you're weird, you're queer. You have to have a girlfriend. You're 20 years old and you're a virgin. You're 25, you never ever been with a woman, you never had a girlfriend, you didn't date your wife for 2 years before you married her. That's the asl of American culture. That's the what? We differ on this or not? Maybe some of you younger guys, but the original American culture, Abu Sa'id, is what we just what? No doubt about that. Sweet 16, prom. You have to have a girlfriend. Everybody understand this? If you're a virgin and you're 17, you're considered what? Shav. You're weird. 18, 19, you're still a virgin. That's not the American culture. So in a place like America, and I'm sure the other Western countries as well, and where zina is so rampant, you sleep with a woman, you have a child, and then you say, that's not my child. It's a child of the bed. It's from zina. That's going to open up the door of what? Fasad. Sleep with somebody, have a child, and then it's what? It's not my child. So to make the zina, there was no sharia. When it's the responsibility of the child, taking care of the child, feeding the child, now there's the what? Sharia. And that's a problem. Everybody understand this? That's a what? That's a problem. That's going to open up a door of chaos as we see today. You can be irresponsible sexually, but be responsible with regards to the child. Where was the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when it came to you having a child? Now you want to implement the hadith of the what? The Prophet ﷺ. As far as before Islam, that's a different story. But even in the urban city culture of single parent home, that is still an extreme what? That's a huge problem because the average household in the urban city is single parent. That's a problem. Everybody understand this? So what does that hadith mean and how do we implement that? Does that hadith mean that you have no financial responsibilities with that child? Or as a punishment, the child is not attributed to you, but you still have legal responsibilities in America. If you get a ticket, is it the sharia that you pay off the ticket? Yes or no? Is it the sharia of Allah that you have to pay for a ticket? No, without a doubt. But you still have to do what? Pay off the ticket. Everybody understand this? So you have to be mindful. You have to be what? You have to be mindful and not play games with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sharia. Can't change what Allah and His Messenger said. Everybody understand this? But it can't just be chaotic in which you just have child, and they're not my what? They're not my children. That's the problem that we live in today, unfortunately. May Allah help us. Khairan inshallah. Wallahu alam. Khalas ikhwani, I believe it's time for the iqama. Jazakumullah khairan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.